Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your severe weather outlook for today, Friday. There's a moderate risk of severe weather from Ark-La-Tex area into southeastern Oklahoma. Again, a very significant thing is happening right now. The Storm Prediction Center, with a moderate risk that has upgraded from yesterday's enhanced risk, mainly over the areas like Paris, Taylor, and Texarkana, and will continue to monitor that over the next several hours into this evening. A late season severe weather outbreak is likely. We could see many EF2 tornadoes or greater. These could be strong, long-lived, as well as fast-moving. And as we evolve in later into the evening, we're going to watch that wind threat, which could carry with it still QLCS tornadoes. So the tornado threat isn't over once this thing turns linear. As you can see here, the Storm Prediction Center outlining a very large area of 15% chance of tornadoes, mainly in that Ark-La-Tex and southeastern Oklahoma region, which needs to be watching this very carefully over the next few hours as this begins to develop. A tornado watch is likely very shortly, and as I'll show you here in a moment, tornadoes are very likely in this area. Wind is also a concern with this. We're up to a 45% chance of winds greater than 60 miles an hour. That's incorrect there on the screen. The text is, the graphic is right. And a 10% chance of winds greater than 75 miles an hour. Again, like most storms, this is going to be discrete cells becoming linear, but the highest winds will still be in those discrete cells than in that linear storm. And so we want to watch these discrete cells, especially early in this afternoon, heading into this evening. And that's really where the bulk of the storm is going to be, is this afternoon and evening. Hail is also a threat earlier on with those more discrete storms. 15% chance of hail, severe hail that is greater than 1 inch in these areas. As I mentioned, a tornado watch is incoming. The Storm Prediction Center is not mincing words on this. Risk for supercells capable of substantial all hazard severe weather will gradually increase into the early afternoon. A tornado watch will be required. Again, that's from the Storm Prediction Center. 95% chance of a tornado watch, and that's likely to be issued probably around the time this video goes live. I'll have more information in the description of this video as to the information regarding that tornado watch. The probability of severe weather within 40 kilometers of a location peaks at around 57% in southwestern Arkansas. And again, those orange areas are anywhere above 50% chance of seeing some sort of severe weather within 40 kilometers. Now, if we expand the parameters to 120 kilometers and consider tornadoes only, those probabilities jump to 86%, about somewhere between Waco and Tyler, Texas. Texarkana, somewhere in that like triangle of things, it is where we're expecting an 86% chance that there is a tornado within 120 kilometers. Now, that's a very large area, that significant ground to cover of where there could potentially be a tornado at. But basically what that tells me, and what it should tell you, is that if you're in northeastern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, southwestern Arkansas, or northwestern Louisiana, the Ark-La-Tex area, and southeastern Oklahoma, those areas, if you're in any of those areas, if you identify that you live at any of those areas, you need to be considering the real possibility that there will be a tornado in that area likely today. So consider that when planning for what's going on. The severe timing with these storms, again, we're expecting storms to begin around the area. All of these times are in coordinated universal time. So, for example, 0 there is -5, so it's going to be around 7 p.m. That the places with 0, if you're in a location with 0, it's going to be around 7 p.m. that are your peak chance to receive storms. If we also looking at the Colorado State University, as I mentioned yesterday, they're up to 15.5% chance of a tornado in that Texarkana area, as well as significant probabilities, I believe 42-ish% of severe wind in that area. And those severe probabilities exist all the way up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But that's not the main focus of today's video. Of course, the tornadoes are the main focus. And as you can see here, really, again, southeastern Oklahoma, the Ark-La-Tex region needs to be watching this very carefully. As I show here, these are the areas I would highlight for, potentially seeing a storm. If I were storm chasing today, which I would love to be storm chasing today, but I'm not. If I were storm chasing today, I'd aim for that second star. So that first star up in Oklahoma, just to the east of Norman, that second star in the center of the two circles I drew on the map, or I guess two ovals I drew on the map. And those are the areas I would expect to see a couple few tornadoes today, or inside each of those circles, expect 2 to 3 tornadoes at least within each of those two circles I just drew. And then that third star also, I would expect something in that general region. Let's look at the first star first. It's going to be east of Norman. As we can see, a tornado is possible according to the sounding. But again, like I mentioned yesterday, it's relatively straight up. And again, we're looking at that photograph in the upper corner of the diagram. So if you look right above me, right there, then you can actually see what I'm talking about. It goes basically straight up into the air, increasing with height, the wind speed increasing with height, and not really changing in direction much. A little bit of change, but nothing too crazy. I'll show you an example of what I mean. Now, here is a different sounding. This is between Dallas and Texarkana, the PDS tornado sounding. That does not mean that there will be a tornado, but if we take a look at the same diagram in that upper corner, that photograph there, you can see that it not only increases with height, it also changes direction into a sickle-like shape. That curved photograph, it's like a sickle. It curves with height, and that tells meteorologists that in fact there is a pretty darn good chance of a tornado there. Like the upper level winds, the low level winds, all of the winds, the way the things are in the atmosphere are extremely favorable for tornadoes between Dallas and Texarkana today. Moving on to my third sounding point, and I picked this one because it's kind of in between the past two I show you. That's further to the south, down in Waco and Tyler, where it's going to be, hit or miss whether or not they get tornadoes. But as you can see, the atmosphere is conducive with not quite a perfectly curved photograph, but a relatively curved one. Not quite as amazing as the first one I showed you, but still up there, and definitely a tornado threat nonetheless. So again, the key messages today, we're going to have a late season severe weather outbreak today. Probably a few tornadoes, probably a couple of them are going to be EF2+. They could be long-lived, and they're going to be fast-moving. These storms, as I mentioned, even in Oklahoma, the reason it's with that increasing so quickly with height, that means that these storms are going to be rocketing off to the east, and so they're going to be moving very quickly, and so we need to continue to monitor that as we move on with time. So that's all I have for now. See you guys next time. Chris Sixton for Catholic Media. Stay safe.